Well, this is a little different this week, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little disoriented here. What's going on, Ray?
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. This is the Motormouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza.
Extravaganza.
Little different, no music. We're not in our usual location. We're at the UD.
The undisclosed location.
But not the UD that you hang out in. We're at
the UD number 1. We're
right.
at UD number 2.
This is the time of year where we celebrate all the best. It's kind of like a best of show with the guests we've had for the past year here on Motormouth Radio. So you can't call us this week because we don't have a phone bank set up.
Yeah. They don't want anybody calling in. They don't want to be able to trace nothing.
Right.
You know, you got to go down the stairs. You got to knock on the door and say either Ray or Joe sent me.
Right. But be sure that you do
say the secret word.
Go to the website motormouthradio.com and follow us on all the social media outlets on Twitter and Faccia Bruta Book and Instagram, and you'll find this show up there later on today or tomorrow where you can replay it with us. But for now, we have to go through these doors, Joe, because behind there is a group of people assembled. You know, there's been cars, there's hot rods outside. I see a few bikes.
Yeah. We got the brave souls to take it out, even though there was a little bit of rain on the ground there. But
I don't know what to expect. They've been in there for a couple hours.
Oh, jeez.
I saw a couple of our good friends in there that have been like at the bar for I think like 2 hours. It's only 12 o'clock.
I know. Well, let's see. That makes sense. And it should be well lubricated.
So I tell you what.
And it ain't going to be 30 weight.
All right, listen, you open the door. I got the club. Let's go through and see what we're going to find.
Okay, I'll go high, you go low. Husky and touch time.
All right, hang on. Let's see. Yep, we're in the hall. There you go.
Oh,
look at that. Hey, yeah, everybody's here. Everybody's here.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Well,
let's make our way over there, you know.
We got to sit up here. These are our seats up here. These two dungeon chairs. Yeah.
Yes. And,
all right. Well, I guess let's kick this off. Welcome, everybody. All of our friends and family who are here to see us. I got to say, Joe, the way this came about was last year we did a tribute show for our good friend Joe Oldham, who had passed away, right? And during that show, I kind of had the impetus of like, wow, we're kind of like doing like a Mother's Day thing. So
it was along the same lines. Yeah, we had fun. It worked out well.
So we had a very special call that day, something that really was the linchpin to make me decide to go this route. God help me. Let's hear how that sounded back in October from last year.
Did I see the phone flashing just now?
You did.
What drool decided to try to call in the middle of the Joe Oldham tribute?
You know what? I'm listening to Motormouth Radio and I hear my own voice. I'm like, how the heck did that happen? What is this? Modern technology? Can you get to hear the radio? What's up, guys?
Is that my nephew?
Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, my radio father here on Motormouth Radio, Mr. Chris Switzer has joined us.
You know, after that introduction, I really don't know what I'm going to say.
You plagiarist, you.
Hey, I take after the best.
You know what?
Love the show, guys. Joe Oldham was a wonderful, wonderful individual. And Ray, one of the best interviews I think you and I ever gave. He was just a spectacular author and columnist. And I just love what you guys are doing as a tribute for him. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. Well, like
anybody
I said,
deserves it.
When I said to Joe, I wanted to do it, the first thing that jumped into my head was Mother's Day. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And unlike Mother's Day, where you culled clips from the whole year, God bless your soul, I only had 2 interviews to go from, which took me a week.
Well, let me tell you, I had too many clips of your co-host over there, Ray. Joe, you had given me so many clips to put into the Mother's Day show and into the promos that we did in the beginning of every show, and it was always comical. It was always a laugh, and I'm very glad you have risen to the ranks of a spectacular host on that mediocre program.
Is that a nice way of saying I scarred you?
I'm not there.
Stop.
Right.
Stop. I just listened to you guys and tried to catch on, and I actually took my cues from the best here.
And you're doing a fantastic job. It's a fantastic job. It's a good listen.
I could see your standards haven't changed much, but I'll take the compliment anyway.
Yeah, that was quite an ordeal, huh?
My face was still red from that. I think I turned red again just listening to it.
That was high praise from our master. Chris is the guy that we both took our cues from. So
the originator.
And let's what happened? What's next on the cue, Joe?
Well, the Joel Oldham tribute. It elicited plenty of buzz. With Mark Anthony, our new friend and media partner from AutomoBlog.net, calling in to give us some unexpected yet very cool compliment.
Let's see how it sounded.
My face is
Absolutely. And the forward of that book is so great. The way it's introduced by Joe Oldham, the way he kind of prefaces the book, that other publications in California were kind of politically correct, and then as he says in the book, we were the wise-ass outlaws from New York, and I love that line. And of course, I thought of you guys right away.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Oh, really?
That was some high praise from Carl Anthony. He's become a great proponent of this show, Joe.
He's a regular, too, yeah.
He is, and he keeps us... He likes what we do, and we love what he does, so...
And our faces are still red from that one, too.
Absolutely. So, then we delved a little back into one of our other things, which is, of course, hot rods and racing and all that stuff. We talk about that all the time. And Mr. Mike Natale, I see him back there. He's talking to Vic back. I think that's Vic he's talking to over there.
Yeah. Well, they're attacking that hero pretty good.
I thought they're comparing wrenches. We go to the Englishtown swap meet every year to buy some junk and look at stuff, and of course they had a big turnaround this year. So we had Mr. Mike Natale. Mike, if you want to listen up, your bid is on. Let's hear how that sounded back from
listen up.
Last January. So, Mike, back in the day, what was your hot rod of choice?
I loved everything. I raced whatever I got my hand on. I raced it. I'd see how fast it is.
Okay.
But my favorite car is my little 71 Duster. I have a little 71 Plymouth Duster with a steel-headed 340, 9-inch tire slick, and it leaves like nobody's business.
Nice.
And, I'd calm it down, but I used to do some major big wheel stands and hit the 60-foot clocks with the rear tires, and nobody believed stock. It was stock stroke, and it's a regular stock stroke, and 30 over 340 with steel heads.
Make it even better is like put a long strap on the tranny blanket so the strap trips the 60-foot. You don't have to wait for the rear wheels to go by.
Well, yeah, that would actually it would hang down. It would hang down because I blew up a 727 one time, and that was let me tell you something. That was like stepping on a landmine when a 727 explodes.
Yeah, definitely.
But
definitely.
That's my car of choice. But I had a Motion Biscayne. That was my high school car.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool car. That was a lot of fun. They called it the Battleship.
Right.
But
and you're a Long Island guy.
Yeah, Valley Stream. I grew up in Valley Stream, went to Central High School. Mike Trotter is, one of the top automotive instructors in the country. Was I happened to have him as my teacher, and then I worked with him. They actually hired me to teach at Valley Stream.
You taught ATPP, didn't you?
Yes, I did. We wrote.
Mike, do you know how Joe knows you taught ATPP?
ATTP.
Yeah, he probably was in my classes.
Yep. Out in Farmingdale.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Farmingdale. It's great. I loved teaching and being at that college because we had the Federal Test Procedure dyno there.
Oh, yeah, that place is loaded for bear. Mm-hmm.
Oh, we had the top. Yeah, we played with that. We had a lot of fun. God, I don't know how we didn't kill anybody with this stuff.
Let's go back to...
Yeah, talk about...
Absolutely. Let's not go back. Let's stop that because that's not what we're supposed to do here.
Let's not go back here. Let's face it. Ray, you got tuned in by a CarCraft article written by our friend Steve. So, of course, we got him to call and talk about it.
That's right. That was Steve Magnate, of course, good friend of the show from CarCraft, and he does... what's that show he's doing on Motor Trend TV? It's Junkyard Crawl, I believe it is.
Yeah. See, we got radio stars, TV stars.
And Steve did call. It was right. It was a magazine I read, and I said, you know what? Let's get Steve on. And he always plays ball with us, which is great. Steve's a great friend of the show. And he couldn't make it because he's out on the left coast.
Yeah.
He couldn't make it in today. But
we'll send him some here. We'll wrap it up.
Let's see what he had to say to us, though. Let's give it a whirl. Let's go back to...
Yeah, talk about altered wheelbases and stuff.
Your other hobby is making... I got a copy of the altered wheelbase models. There's an article in the March 2018 CarCraft magazine that got my attention called Funny Car Folk Art.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, altered wheelbase funny car models were a thing in the 60s, and they're kind of coming back. But I mean, you can chop and slice the wheelbase on a full-size car or a plastic one. But it was amazing that, John McGann at CarCraft, he's the editor, hats off to him for being brave and giving a full 5 pages to CarCraft to a plastic model car story, which is very cool. Now, keep in mind, back in the 60s, model cars were a part of the CarCraft editorial package every month, but it was cool. So, but it's a 5-pager. Basically, you're rounding up the idea that you don't have to have pretty paint and stuff, and just you don't even paint the model. Sometimes just slicing, dicing, and having fun with it. And so, good eye. That was a fun story to write.
I tell you, I saw it and I said, "Oh, great, Steve got a model story." And when I saw how long it went, I was like, "This is fantastic! 5 pages in CarCraft." But you definitely have the Ginsu knife of X-Actos, boy. You talk about slicing and dicing. You have this down to you could do this in your sleep, I'm sure.
Right. Oh. I mean, it's simpler than a lot of folks might be afraid. But the punchline is a lot of guys, whether it's plastic models or the real thing, get bogged down in the details, trying to make it pretty. Now, this is not an excuse, for being a butcher. But if you free yourself from the idea that it has to have perfect paint and be flawless, you get a lot done. You really do.
It kind of sounds like the cars I drive on the street.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was. Those models are something else. Steve does a great job, and we'll get him back on again to talk about that in a while.
With those things,
Absolutely.
Wow.
So, we have another good friend of the show, our good friend Jeep and Al, who's a displaced Long Islander, and he called in because he had a problem with some O2 sensors on his Jeep, and he needed some tech advice. So, of course, who's he going to call?
Yeah, SEAL Team 6.
He's going to call SEAL Team 6. So let's go see Al. I know you're in the back there. I see he's by the cocktail table. He's got those. He's eating some Wiener Schnitzel and cocktail franks, I think.
Yeah. I think he's going to feed it to his Jeep later.
Exactly. So let's see how that sounded and see if we found a problem, a solution for his problem.
You know what I mean? So you might be close. On the other hand, if the thing is completely in the toilet, it's just like buckle down, get the cat, be done. If you got fresh O2 sensors in there, you might as well just do it that way. A lot of times when an older car, and it's got like the original cat, and it's like 10 years old, I'll recommend both the O2 sensors, because when you go to take them out and you put a wrench to them, or the torch, or the impact gun, or whatever weapon of mass destruction that the mechanic decides to use,
Al's got all of those.
The internal workings of the sensor, that little sensor nubby that just goes.
Been extremely, knock on wood as I beat my head, extremely lucky with the O2 sensors. I've had none of them. I put a wrench on them and they pop right out.
Oh, you're dead now.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's it. I'd be throwing salt over my shoulder, going chopping the feet off a rabbit, something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God. And I don't know if he ever solved that problem, but
I know. Then again, he hasn't come knocking on our door, so
he's on to other things.
Yeah. And sometimes, even though we give advice, a lot of times we get unsolicited advice and offers on the show. This one really caught us by surprise, and he gave me, at least us, gave us both a little bit of a chuckle there.
It sure did. Let's go see how this one sounded from back in whenever the hell it was, in February. Yes, you're Automotive Mouse caller.
Yo.
Yeah, my remark is going to be strange. Can you use me on your show?
Well, who are we talking to, first of all?
My name is Carmine. I've been a used car dealer for 43 years. I'm a mechanic. I know cars in and out. I know everything that's going on in that business.
Oh, very good. You've been local for that many years, Carmine?
Who's cheating and who's not?
Oh, yeah. Well, we all kind of know those stories. So you've been doing this locally on Long Island for a long time?
Yes, I'm from Port Washington.
Oh, very good. How'd you find us?
I heard your thing on the radio just now.
Yeah.
Okay. So in other words, you were trying to find another station, and you came upon us, and like watching a train wreck, you had to stop and listen.
You were looking for music, and you found us, right?
Right.
That's how it always happens, Joe. People are looking for something else. They're looking for smooth jazz, and they find Motormouth Radio.
Yeah, then they get rough idols.
Well, I'll tell you something. This is a very profound bit, because today being Mother's Day, we have found ourselves in a conversation about Italian mothers.
Oh,
and it still stands. So
where it all starts.
Let's go right back. And moms everywhere, this one's for you. Yes, if you make the mess, you have to clean it up. Your mother taught you that, right?
Oh, yes.
And it was at the expense, and
I had my own Snap-on mop for a while.
Yeah, it was at the expense of whatever implement your mother preferred, like a slipper, a shoe, a frying pan, a rolling pin. My mother used wooden spoons. It got to a point where she would chase my brother and I around and then like hit us with them, and it would break.
Right.
And I remember we'd laugh,
maybe you should go metal, Ma.
Yeah.